Hi, I'm Pete Cashmore, CEO and founder of Mashable. You're watching Documented at Davos with Scribd and Mashable, talking to technology leaders here at Davos with the World Economic Forum. We're delighted to have with us Dan Rose, who's VP Partnerships at Facebook. Dan, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
I think we can jump right in. I mean,
Great.
Facebook is busy on the partnership side. What kind of partnerships are you working on? What are you excited about right now?
Well, we're talking about Open Graph and the new functionality that we launched at F8 several months ago, which really allows developers to plug into Facebook, and in particular gives our users a way to add content from applications to their timeline. So last week we launched 60 new Open Graph partners, companies like Food Spotting and Pinterest, where you can now go around the web and not only pin your favorite content from different sites, but actually have that content show up on your Facebook timeline so that when people go there, they can check out the stuff that you're doing.
Well, you mentioned Pinterest. Our audience is crazy for Pinterest. What's the appeal there? Why is it suddenly taken off?
I think a lot of people are finding that it's just a really fun way to kind of associate themselves with fashion and design that they enjoy, that they come across on the web. And then it's also a really cool way to discover new things through the lens of what your friends are pinning. But one of the things that's never been possible until we launched them with Open Graph is the ability to actually see what Pete specifically is pinning when you go to Pete's Facebook timeline.
Right.
And that's what's new.
Right, wedding dresses and recipes and all that
If
stuff
that's what
I'm
you're
into.
into, yeah.
Is that a competitive site to Facebook? It's a social site. It's gaining a lot of momentum. How do you perceive them?
We built the platform to really enable anyone to plug into Facebook. And the way that we think about our business is we want to provide the underlying social graph. And we want to give people 800 million and growing a way to express themselves and really have their identity on Facebook. And in order for that to be a complete picture of who you are, we want to allow you to add content from any of the different websites or mobile applications that you use. Right.
So, Facebook essentially owns the identity strand, the social strand, and all these applications can tie in, but it's all going into your Facebook feed ultimately. It's all, the social experience is still on Facebook.
That's right.
Some people, some of our audience obviously looking at this Open Graph stuff, and what seems to be happening is a trend towards a kind of a lightness of sharing. We started out where we had to hit a share button, then we would hit a like button, and we didn't even have to visit Facebook. Now we can authenticate these apps, and it's sharing the activity in the apps. Because it's certainly been voiced by our readers, are there any privacy concerns around that, and how do you address privacy concerns that users might have?
The thing that we've really over the years understood about privacy is it's all about control, and it's all about really clearly explaining what's happening to the user. So when we developed the Open Graph, we spent a lot of time working with our early partners to figure out the right way to communicate exactly what's happening and to give users a complete control over that experience. So if you go to an application like Food Spotting, I used it last night to take a picture of my Swiss fondue dinner that I had. When you sign on to that application on your iPhone or your Android device, very clearly up front they ask you, would you like to share all of your food and meal photos with your friends on Facebook? When you click yes, from that point forward, when you take a picture, it goes onto your Facebook timeline. And for a lot of people, the only reason to use Food Spotting is to put those photos on their timeline. And so it really makes sense that that's what they would want to do.
What's Facebook's take on some of these new social apps that spring up on mobile? And are they competitive at all? I mean, we're seeing things like Path getting some traction, Instagram obviously in the photo space. Are those alternatives to Facebook? Do they integrate with Facebook? Where on the line do you see them?
All of the companies that you mentioned are integrating with Facebook.
Right.
So Instagram, when you take a photo, you can very easily, again, using Open Graph, share that content back to your Facebook feed, back to your Facebook profile. And again, our vision here is we want everybody to integrate with Facebook. Our view is the platform is there to make it possible for our users to express who they are on every site and in every application that they use across the web.
I got to ask you this one. It's coming. Google Plus. They just did this search your world thing. Search plus your world. They're putting the the Google Plus results higher up in search than anyone else, including Facebook stuff. Do you guys have any position on that? I saw that actually someone at Facebook developed a nice plugin for Chrome where you can actually, I personally think it's much better, you can see Twitter and Facebook as well if the person's more active there. I mean, do you guys have a take on that? What do you think about Google Plus in general?
Yeah, you know, it was only a matter of time. A number of engineers from Facebook and Twitter and actually MySpace and some other companies kind of built this hack that you talked about. And it was there just to really show what types of results are possible given the information that's publicly available in the search index. You know, our view generally is that search results are, you know, in an ideal world should provide you with the most relevant results. And if there's if you're searching for somebody who has a very active Facebook page, you, for example, have 250,000 subscribers on Facebook, our assumption is that that would be a very relevant result if somebody was searching Pete Cashmore.
So it's about, you know, relevancy and where you're more active. I guess I should also maybe speak to you a little bit about, I know that Facebook came out against this, I guess it was last week at this point, and you know, there's been a lot of talk around SOPA, around new regulations about things that might affect the ability for sites to serve user-generated content. What is Facebook's concern around those regulations?
You know, in this particular case, Mark Zuckerberg came out with a status update on Facebook expressing our position with respect to SOPA, and many other companies across the web obviously took strong positions on this. I think our position on it is clear and it's consistent with what others have said. We want a free and open internet. We want to have you know, very clear ground rules around how content is shared and when content you know, is pulled down, and we believe that the direction we're headed right now is the right one.
Do you think that requires, I mean, how serious are the concerns about piracy, and does that require a new law, or the new law is acceptable? I mean, is there any position on that?
You're asking the wrong person to go into details about that.
We'll bring Mark in and we'll
bring in our head of policy and we can have that conversation. Yeah.
Great. Well, what are the partnerships are you excited about, coming back to the partnership stuff? Anyone else going to be signing on with Open Graph anytime soon?
Absolutely. In fact, we already have thousands of companies who have submitted Open Graph actions, and we are going through those and actually approving each action so that we make sure that the quality of the content that's flowing through is really high and that our users are having a good experience with it. So Open Graph is really the big focus for us. We're also really engaged on the mobile side as well. We have a ton of mobile partners. We're doing a lot of stuff with mobile operators and manufacturers around the world. We continue to invest in our mobile applications, both on smartphones as well as on feature phones in some of the emerging markets. And those are really exciting partnerships.
So there's a couple things that come up with that. Number one, does that mean there's going to be a manual process for approval? And if so, is that about ensuring quality? What's the aim there? Yeah,
so what we've decided is that as we turn on Open Graph, we want to make sure that the applications who are submitting content into people's timelines are vetted before they are allowed to do that. And so we have a process where we go through and approve, and we'll be doing that at an accelerating rate over the coming weeks and months.
Got it. And when you talk about mobile, are you talking about creating a mobile layer? Are we going to see more you know, new apps on iPad, Android, iPhone coming out from Facebook anytime soon? So
we already have apps on all of those devices. What we're doing is making them faster, better. You know, in many respects, you know, Facebook is a mobile experience. You don't bring your computer to a wedding. And so, you know, what we want to make sure is that you get the best Facebook experience on your mobile device, and that's where we're investing a lot of resources. We also want to make sure that you get a Facebook experience no matter what device you carry, and that includes, you know, the hundreds of millions of people who don't have smartphones, but who are very active Facebook users and who want to be able to access Facebook on their feature
Well, there was an attempt, I remember, Facebook Lite. Is that no longer in existence, or did that continue on?
No, we continue to have a version of Facebook that runs on feature phones that on data networks that may not have the bandwidth that we're used to, so that you can access the site without it taking a long time to load.
Is that the next big growth area? I mean, we hear a lot about in the US, Facebook, because, you know, virtually everyone I know is on Facebook. Where are the next big growth opportunities?
Actually, you'd be surprised as you go around the world. We now have 800 million users and growing, and so
Are you ready to announce 900 yet?
Not yet, but there's
Okay.
a lot of countries where we have, even higher penetration than in the U.S.
Right.
And so, the growth has just been incredible.
And you just overtook Orca, so congratulations. It was because Brazil, it was the most popular network, and now Facebook also dominant there. So
That's right. We've done really well in Brazil, and India as well has been just tremendous for us. So we're having a lot of success in all parts of the world.
Well, great. Well, congratulations on all the success, and thanks for talking to us about all the partnerships going on at Facebook.
Thanks very much.
Dan Rose, VP Partnerships at Facebook. We're documented at Davos with Mashable and Scribd. Thanks for joining us, and more interviews coming up.